At this time, I'd like to introduce Geri Littlejohn. She will be offering our Indigenous blessing. Geri Littlejohn has been making Native American style flutes for 30 years. She plays in service to life every day, songs of gratitude to the land and creation, in sonic support of all life, musical prayers for the unborn yet to be. Geri's playing helps to quiet the mind of the listener. It's an open invitation to settle into the heart and embody peace, love, balance, and harmony. Geri is daily reminded of what she knew as a young girl. Nature speaks to us in whispers on the wind, in the songs of birds, through flute song, through silence. Geri's songs come through these instruments and connect the listener to the wisdom of the trees with the winds of change shared through the breath of life. Whether making flutes for others to play their heart songs or playing herself, deep connection with self and creation are always integral to this process. She loves participating in the alchemy of music and opening hearts. Geri lives in Williams, Oregon, with her son on 7 acres adjacent to Pacifica, Mother Ocean. A garden in the Siskiyous, a 400-acre property centered on the celebration of nature and community through education and the arts, of which she serves as a board chair. You all will be receiving her website information in the call report that will be sent out after this call. Welcome, Geri.
Thank you so much, and welcome to each and every one of you. As I offer up this song this morning, connecting us with our breath, the shared breath that we have, I invite us to deepen into this circle, these many circles of women. And I'm reminded of, I support a Sundance as a singer, and I'm reminded of how the women stand in a circle around the men who are seated at the drum, and how that drum is the heartbeat of the earth. And how, as women, when we circle as women, we embrace all, always. So grateful to be here and for the work that's being done through this and in many circles and the ways that we interconnect.
Thank you.
Mm. May the words that are spoken here today come from our hearts and be reflective of the heart of all life. Blessed be.
Sacred economy typically refers to gift economy, which refers to the exchanging of services and items rather than money for services or items. But we are normalizing this expression by taking it to a new level and shifting the definition without losing its power. Some Indigenous peoples refer to a gift giving ceremony as potlatch. This is where we get the word potluck from. The potlatch ceremonies of North America tradition, particularly peoples of the Pacific Northwest, is that people come to a room and they leave items that are precious to them with no expectations of who will pick it up or where it will go, and trust that what they will pick up in return will be just what they need for the time being. The spirit in this cultural event is ensuring that everyone gets what they need. In some Indigenous traditions, it's believed the wealthiest one of the community is the one who gives the most away, believing that we only own our footprints, and yet we are all interconnected. Now, luckily for us, the story that we are separate from one another is becoming more and more obsolete, despite what you might think, especially here in the United States politics. The General Congress of Women is demonstrating the element of interrelated nature and our interdependence, use of the fruit of life or any other model of nature, and the agreement for care and caregiving. And collectively, we're changing the story. How we are in relationship with money also needs a new story. In the Mother's Day proclamation, Julia Ward Howe was calling for a new way for women to work together for the greater needs of peace and an unmistakable demand for an alternative form of governance. Economy is arguably an essential pillar of governance, yet somehow it takes a backseat to the work of grassroots initiatives where real change starts and ends, and especially where women are in leadership. Precisely those of you who are on this call or listening to this recording now. Money and our economic and banking system is an agreement based on a set of beliefs with scarcity built into that system. But we can change what that agreement is. In the end, someone is exchanging their dollars for services and or a product, but it's how that currency flows is critical to the outcome, just like in potlatch. We have experienced this at Sarah. For nearly 18 years, we, and I saw this with other large organizations that I've been involved with, would see maybe 20 people RSVPing to a free event and less than 10 would show up. But once we made the decision not to give away our treasures, yet unapologetically, a really important word here, require a fee, we saw at least 98% of registered show up. We now can track those who do pay for things and calls and such, and then pay it forward and become the conduit for more currency. In fact, more people show up because there is a new value to what you're coming to. You're invested. And as well, we now can afford to give away scholarships to those who are in need. And they also recirculate those treasures. We can track that. So we actually have empirical data that this concept works. Some reasons women do not ask for money is, and I'm not suggesting this is you, but perhaps it may feel familiar to you. Fear that no one will find value in what you're offering. Don't feel they have enough value ourselves, or we don't feel we have enough value ourselves, which is really just lack of confidence that we're enough, which is an all too pervasive wrong that women ourselves contribute to and perpetuate. And then fear of personal rejection, which is, of course, nature is built into our primitive animal survival brain. The good news is pro-social science has shown us that our brains can be trained. And also socially, it is not yet expected for grassroots social activism to be valued by dollars. because there are too many other free programs setting the standard. So the times that are changing. Yeah, but really it's a process. The times that I was personally paid for keynotes or whatever I was offered to be paid for, I gave 100% of that to Sarah. And I think that was even me not honoring me and what I was bringing as an individual. This perception is so pervasive in how it shows up in our self-respect and our relationship with others as well. So we took a really good look at this as an unhealthy habit of society and decided that we would be a part of changing that standard here at the General Congress of Women. The more we started charging, the more we saw other organizations were charging as well. And people that showed up were really engaged. The problem was not in our society as much as within our own belief about what we found to be valuable. We had to change our own habits. Now, we know that habits can change, and pro-social psychology and science has shown that it only takes 28 days to retrain your brain due to neuroplasticity. In the same fashion, habits form in community, which is called society, basically. To demonstrate that, I wanted to show you this. So just like a truck or a car or anything you drag over a surface time and time and time again, it's going to create grooves. The same thing happens in your brain. The more a thought travels, the more the same thought travels, that thought starts creating new neural pathways that become just this easier space for a thought to travel down. As a matter of fact, the more that thought becomes a regular thought and a regular groove, it begins to become more of a tunnel. And that tunnel then further gets sheathed over. So it's now you've got this industrial strength hollow cable running through your brain where thoughts automatically flow. This is a habit. You don't have to think much for a habit to happen. It happens. And that's because of this neural pathway that has been created for it. And it's the same in society. Anytime we want to change a general perception, we're changing the communal neural pathway. So, for example, advertisers get this. It wasn't that long ago that the traditional image of anyone selling a household product was either a woman or a white man and a white woman selling a product together as a married couple. But today it's almost commonplace to see two dads or a multicultural family engaging to sell a product. And here, when I went to look for an image, here's a man doing the laundry. This is a Tide commercial. Notice the vacuum cleaner in the back. Clearly, he's a stay-at-home dad, right? Here's what was titled under that picture. Tide ad glorifies stay-at-home dads. So advertisers get this. They want to glorify this. This means make it appealing because we want to change the perception. We want to sell things to people who are staying at home, of course, but we are stay-at-home dads, of course, but we definitely want to glorify it's okay to be a stay-at-home dad, which how many decades ago would be unheard of to see this. The General Congress of Women models everything we do in its relationship to nature. And this is no different. When we look at the process of how water circulates on our planet, we see the natural process of life itself. How many of us normally look at these clouds as dark, gloomy clouds when we look into the sky? But what are those clouds really? Those clouds are really teeming with life. And when we start changing our perception about when we look in the sky and see a dark, gloomy cloud to seeing a cloud pregnant with life, maybe we can also change the way we look at dollars circulating as well. They're not dirty dollars. They're meant to be put into circulation, and they are potentially teeming with life. And that's what we wanted to illustrate for you here today, that we can change our perception of how we look at dollars and how we see our value in the very natural process of how money flows, and that we need it, that it's okay. It's a fact of life. We have to keep the lights on and put food on our table. We want to be able to provide scholarships and services for others. We want to help the needy and the marginalized. That takes resources, and resources, when they flow, are pregnant with life.